Gan Deal just broke his silence, and what he's exposing is absolutely wild. Remember that Netflix documentary about Diddy that everybody's been buzzing about? Well, the footage Gan Deal collected was so explosive, Netflix refused to air it. They flat out couldn't touch it. But here's the twist. Gene's getting ready to leak every single piece of evidence that 50 Cent had to cut out. And trust me, this is about to flip everything you thought you knew. You clicked this video because you want the raw story, the unfiltered truth, and that's exactly what you're getting. Gan Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard who watched everything unfold up close, finally sat down for an interview, and this time, he's not protecting anybody. Here's what you need to understand. Gan was supposed to appear in the Netflix documentary. He spoke with 50 Cent for 45 minutes. They had a plan, but then things went left. The director disrespected him, and Gene walked away. Now he's revealing every story that got left on the cutting room floor. You're about to hear the real story behind the City College tragedy, the truth about Anthony Wolf Jones, what actually went down with Kim Porter, and why certain A-list celebrities paid good money to keep their names out of this documentary. Everything 50 Cent couldn't show you, it's all being exposed, right here, right now. So let's get into it. Before we jump into the leaked details, you need to understand what happened behind the scenes, because it's unbelievable. 50 Cent and Netflix dropped this documentary called Sean Combs' The Reckoning. It immediately shot to #1. Everybody's watching it, everyone's talking, but here's what they're not telling you. Some of the most important stories never made it in. Gan Deal was Diddy's bodyguard for years. He saw everything, the parties, the fights, the deals, the disasters, all of it. He's been holding on to footage and receipts for years, waiting for the right moment to tell the truth. He originally wanted to be part of 50's documentary. He believed in it. He thought finally the real story would come out. But then he met the director, Alex Stapleton, and that meeting went downhill fast.
Let me tell you, that meeting did not go well.
It don't even be sad. I want to put her on blast because she was telling me, she was saying to me that what I was asking for was crazy and they wasn't spending money like that. I'm talking about you got footage, you got clothing, you got. I was doing footage. I had pictures, all the stuff that I had. You could figure out a way to pay her, brother, and stuff like that. And then I was telling her about some prices that I've already received, and I had the invoices to show it. And then she was calling me like I was lying. I was like, yo, who do you think you talking to? You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about, there's no way nobody paid. Nobody what? I say, first of all you people come with these documentaries and stuff, the first thing you tell me, y'all tell these people out here that y'all don't pay, and y'all pay. If you can make a picture look like $10,000, $15,000, you know what I'm saying? You can sit here and tell me that you're gonna pay me for my time sitting right down here with y'all. You understand? So then, one thing led to another, and I was like, yo, all right, well then, F you. I spoke to 50, and then she said 50, and this is exact words that came out her mouth. 50 does not determine what goes in and goes out of this documentary.
Gene wanted to handle things properly. He tried to set up a package deal with two other people who knew Diddy from the very beginning, Tim and Kirk Burrows. Those three could have told the entire story: childhood, street life, label building, everything. Gene asked for $50,000 for all three of them together. Completely reasonable, considering the value of what they had. But here's where the drama starts. Alex Stapleton, the director, told Gene something unbelievable. She said 50 Cent doesn't decide what goes into the documentary and doesn't control who gets paid. She basically implied 50's name was being used for promotion, not power. Gene felt totally insulted. He had invoices from past documentaries. He showed her proof of what he'd been paid before, and she still called him a liar. Imagine that. This man risked his life protecting Diddy, witnessed actual crimes, collected evidence for years, and the director treated him like he was making stories up. And here's the kicker. While Gene was trying to negotiate a fair deal for everyone, Kirk Burrows was cutting secret side deals behind the scenes. Typical industry moves, everyone looking out for themselves. Gene was trying to elevate everybody, but Kirk was doing his own thing. So Gene walked away, completely. And that's why the Netflix documentary feels incomplete, because the person who knew the most refused to participate. Now he's finally ready to reveal everything that got buried. Let's start with something the documentary barely touched: how Bad Boy Records was actually structured, because this piece explains everything. Kirk Burroughs, the guy we just mentioned, originally owned 25% of Bad Boy Records. Diddy owned the other 75%. But here's the twist: the whole company was put under Diddy's mother, Janice Combs. Why? Why hide it under her name? Gene Deal says it was all to dodge legal liability. Diddy knew lawsuits were coming after the City College tragedy. 9 people died at an event he organized. Their families were ready to sue. So Diddy made sure the company wasn't directly under his name. Strategic? Yes. Shady? Absolutely. But then Diddy wanted Kirk's 25% too. And according to Kirk's own testimony in the documentary, Diddy showed up with a baseball bat, threatened him, and forced him to sign his share away. Kirk tried to sue in 2003, but the case got dismissed because too much time had passed. Think about that. Kirk co-founded Bad Boy, he built it, and Diddy took it from him with threats and violence. Kirk eventually ended up homeless, while Diddy became a billionaire off the label they built together. The documentary mentioned this, but barely scratched the surface. Gene Deal could have laid out the entire scheme, but none of that made the final edit, and we can all guess why.
What I feel about the documentary, they left a whole lot of key things out. If they was going to do something and they're going to say in the reckoning of Sean Combs, the reckoning, or Diddy, the reckoning and stuff like that, it should have been a lot of people that we lost because of him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't only Big, it wasn't only Tupac, you understand? For the atmosphere that he put those kids in. You got a guy named Anthony Wolf Jones, who was from Bad Boy, from its conception as doing security and being one of the financiers of Puff having to have some money to keep Big and Craig Mack around before he got to Clyde Davis.
Now this is where things turn really dark. Gene Deal says there's a whole murder story the documentary straight up ignored, and I'm talking about Anthony Wolf Jones. Wolf was Bad Boy's head of security from day one. He was there before Clive Davis, before the deals, before the fame. One of Diddy's most loyal soldiers, and he knew everything: who got paid, who got silenced, what happened behind closed doors. According to Gan Deal, Diddy's actions directly contributed to Wolf's murder. Gene says the documentary team didn't have the knowledge or the receipts to tell this story correctly. Either they didn't dig deep enough, or they knew and chose to avoid it. Wolf was killed by someone tied to BMF, the Black Mafia family, one of hip-hop's biggest criminal organizations. And Gene is saying Wolf's murder is directly connected to Diddy. But the documentary barely acknowledged Wolf. They showed a couple of photos, called him security, and moved on. Why? Because this story is dangerous. It involves real criminals, real bodies, real organized crime. Netflix didn't want to get involved. 50 probably didn't want to risk it either. But Gan Deal says this story has to be told, because Wolf's death wasn't random. It ties into everything else.
It was Puff, Heavy D, and Jessica. You know what I'm saying? Jessica was the reason why those kids lost their life, because she locked the door on those kids running down the step. You understand? You could see her name in a news article, but they didn't mention nothing about her taking place, but they try to put Heavy D, God bless the dead, out there, and they put Puff out there. You know what I'm saying? She should have been the main one, because she is the one who locked the door on the kids. You understand? She is the one who locked the door on the kids, and all those kids lost their life.
This next story, it's going to make you furious. The documentary covered the City College tragedy, sure, but it left out the real story. Gan Deal was actually there that night. He saw everything firsthand, and what he's revealing flips the narrative completely. December 28, 1991, Diddy organized a celebrity basketball game at City College in New York. It was supposed to be this massive charity event. Heavy D was involved. All the big names were coming. Mike Tyson, LL Cool J, the whole squad. The place was packed. Gan Deal's security team was originally hired to handle the outside. 18 men, dogs, gates, the whole system. He knew how crazy Harlem crowds get when celebs show up. But the day before the event, Diddy called Gene and said Heavy D didn't want his team there anymore. Fired, just like that. No outside security. So the night of the event, chaos exploded. Thousands surged to get in. When Tyson and LL Cool J walked through the front door instead of the back, the crowd lost it. People were crushed in the stairwell. Here's the part the documentary skipped. A woman named Jessica Rosenblum, one of the promoters alongside Diddy and Heavy D, panicked when she saw the crowd. But she wasn't thinking about the people, she was thinking about the money. Gene says Jessica grabbed the cash box and locked the stairwell door, and when she did, hundreds were trapped. 9 people died, 9 kids crushed, all to protect money. Gene couldn't get down the stairs because of the crowd. He had to circle the gym, enter from another side, and start opening doors from the inside. By the time he got there, kids were already dead. He tried CPR on a 17-year-old boy. He didn't make it. The boy's older brother cried, saying, "This is the first time I ever took my little brother anywhere. My mama's gonna kill me." Gan Deal saw all of this. He knows exactly what happened and who locked that door. Jessica Rosenblum never held accountable. No charges, nothing. The documentary barely scratched the surface. They focused on Diddy and Heavy D. They didn't explain why Gene's team was fired. They didn't reveal that a door was locked to protect cash while 9 kids died. Gan tried to tell this story in the doc. It just didn't make the cut. And the behind-the-scenes drama? Insane. Gan, Tim, and Kirk Burrows set up a package to tell the full story. Tim knew Diddy's early life. Kirk knew the business. Gene knew the streets and security. Together, they had the full picture. But director Alex Stapleton started acting shady. She said Gene was asking for crazy money, dismissing his invoices with proof from other documentaries. Then she hit him with this. 50 Cent doesn't decide what goes in the documentary. His name was just for promo. Think about that. They marketed this as 50 Cent exposing Diddy, but 50 didn't control the content. Gene felt disrespected. Years of stories, evidence, footage, documents, and she treated him like he didn't matter. Meanwhile, Kirk was negotiating his own side deals, trying to pressure Gene into taking less. Industry move. Everyone's out for themselves. Gene walked, and that's why the doc feels incomplete. The documentary barely mentions Kim Porter either. Diddy's ex, mother of his kids, died suddenly in 2018 at just 47, officially pneumonia, but she knew everything. Parties, deals, violence. Sources say the doc deliberately avoided her story. Gene knew Kim, protected her at times, and none of that made it in. And one more thing, Diddy threw huge parties with A-listers, musicians, athletes, politicians, basically everyone. So why does the documentary skip them? Gan Deal says A-list celebs likely paid 50 Cent to stay off the record, protect careers, reputations, families. 50 took the money, exposed Diddy, but the doc tells a sanitized story, protecting powerful people while throwing Diddy under the bus. Gene sees right through it.
Have you seen that the documentary, the 50 Cent?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
For Diddy?
I haven't seen it.
Oh man, you working
Everybody
hard.
telling me you got to see it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
part of me don't want to see it
You probably don't.
because it's all skewed, man. Like when you put stuff together, you create whatever narratives you want to, and at the end of the day, everybody being programmed. You know, right now the man's serving time.
Right.
You know, he went before the court. The court said this, and everything is God. But God said this is what he got to do. He got to do 5 years in pen. Let him do his 5 years.
Speaking of celebrities staying quiet, check out what Marlon Wayans said about the documentary. Someone asked him if he'd watched it, and his response was telling. Marlon said he hasn't seen it and probably won't. Then he dropped a line that got everyone talking. He called it a narrative. When you put stuff together, you can create whatever story you want. Everybody's being programmed, he said. Now, why would he say that? Is he defending Diddy? Calling out the doc for bias? Or maybe, like many believe, Marlon has his own history with Diddy that he doesn't want exposed. Rumors have swirled for years. Nothing confirmed, just whispers in the industry. When Marlon refuses to watch the doc and starts talking about narratives and programming, it makes you wonder, what does he actually know? Gene Deal probably knows things about Marlon too, and about plenty of other celebrities, but they didn't want their stories told, so they stayed quiet.
Did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not disclose their sources.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day, perhaps?
Now, let's talk about the behind-the-scenes footage of Diddy before his arrest. Where did 50 Cent even get it? The documentary shows Diddy in his New York hotel room talking to his lawyer on speakerphone. Strategy, media complaints, plotting his next move. Super private stuff. Diddy had hired a videographer to film him, maybe for his own project, maybe just to document everything. But here's the issue. That footage belonged to Diddy. NDAs, contracts, the works, and somehow 50 Cent got it. Diddy's lawyers immediately hit Netflix with a cease and desist, calling it stolen. Netflix said they obtained it legally but won't say how. 50 Cent stays silent. The videographer hasn't spoken. Did he sell it because Diddy didn't pay him? Gann points out Diddy has a pattern of stiffing people. Or did 50 Cent pay someone to liberate it? Either way, it's shady, and it raises serious questions about the doc. Gann Deal has first-hand experience with Diddy's violence. One story, protecting Misa Hilton, mother of Diddy's first son, Justin. After Gene left Diddy's team, Misa asked him to guard her. A couple hours of protection cost $2,250, and Gene told her straight, "If Diddy sees me with you, he won't do anything." Diddy knew Gene, and he wasn't scared. The documentary includes Eric Sermon's story. He was in a car with Misa when Diddy attacked her in the street. Diddy even tried to get Eric to fight, but he didn't. Gene says if he had been there, he would have protected her, no matter what. Gann confirms Diddy had a long history of violence against women. Industry insiders knew, but looked the other way because Diddy was powerful. The doc shows the leaked video of him attacking Cassie. Shocking, yes, but this behavior wasn't new. So what does Gene Deal think of the documentary overall? He watched it, analyzed it, and his verdict is brutal. It's old news. The freak-offs, the violence, the control, the manipulation. Industry insiders already knew. It was just polished for mainstream audiences. The only real fresh content? That behind-the-scenes footage of Diddy before his arrest. Gene could have made it deeper, juicier, with real evidence and stories, but they didn't want that. They wanted a safe Netflix doc, big enough to get views, but careful not to put anyone important in danger. The doc pins everything on Diddy, making him the villain. But Gene knows the truth. There are plenty of people who knew, did nothing, or even participated, and their names stayed protected. That's why Gann calls it incomplete. Remember, Gann Deal has been telling these stories for years, long before Netflix and 50 Cent got involved. Podcasts, YouTube, his own channels, he's been dropping the truth all along. Now I want to hear from you. Which story shocked you the most? What do you think 50 Cent should have included in the documentary? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's have a real conversation. I'll see you in the next one. Stay aware out there.